Hey, we are back with another Ask the Experts favorite show. I was just telling our next guest, favorite show, because we're here. It's the demographics of South Florida, a little bit older. And you know what? When we get older, we tend to get gum disease and lose our teeth. So I had to find the best of the best because there's some bad ones out there. And we were able to find South Florida Center for Periodontics and Implant Dentistry because you asked if we would bring in someone who knows about implants. And I've got one of the senior partners here, Dr. Fred Norkin.
Great to see you today.
You're a big star now, bro. People were saying Dr. Fred. They're like on a first-name basis.
I'll get a star at Meisner Park sometime soon.
Now, I got it. When you get old, you start forgetting. First of all, tell me about your practice. And we had a phone call come in just before the show, so I don't want to forget that. But tell us about your practice.
Well, our practice is actually one of the oldest periodontal implant practices in South Florida. As a matter of fact, our practice was initially established back in 1964. Now,
wait a minute, implants?
Well, not with dental implants. Not with dental implants. Initially with periodontics, and all of us are board certified.
A lot of gum disease.
Exactly, and all of us are board certified periodontists. That's sort of our cornerstone.
That's kind of the start of this, the losing teeth, right? The gum disease?
It is. And what's unique is that periodontists have a unique perspective in that part of our training is that we learn all of the restorative aspects of dentistry. We train hand in hand with prosthodontists and other restorative dentists, as well as other specialists, meaning the orthodontists, the endodontists, the oral surgeons. So in a lot of ways, we have the opportunity, because of our training, to essentially be the quarterback of the team. Yes, we do the surgery, we extract teeth, we place implants and do bone grafts. We are totally committed to trying to save teeth and repair them from periodontal disease when it's appropriate. But because of our training, we have a unique perspective to act as the quarterback and really guide our patients. And one thing I want to comment on from your introduction just a moment ago, you talked about our unique demographic here in South Florida, that they're older. Chronologically, I think you're absolutely right. But I've got to tell you that chronological age means absolutely nothing.
Wow.
This is an active community. So regardless of age, I can tell you that people are committed to their vanity. People are committed to their lifestyle and wanting to be able to go out and eat a meal. Going out to dinner is a really important part of their self-confidence and their social. I can tell you that about an hour ago, my last patient was 92 years old. I took out a broken tooth and placed an implant at 4 o'clock this afternoon. So age is simply a number. And I can tell you, she and I seem to have a date about every 4 years now because we did the same thing for her on the other side when she broke a tooth about 4 years ago. And her husband wanted to know if he should book her next appointment for when she's 96 to come in and do the next one. But age is a number. And so you're right, chronologically, people are a little bit older in this demographic. But I've got to tell you, you're not going to find a group that's more active and
Male
more committed.
Male, female, gender, is that?
We tend to see more women, which I think is very typical for healthcare in general. But I would tell you that the patients that we see that are in more dire straits tend to be the men because, let's be honest, none of us men are very good about volunteering to go to the doctor or to take care of ourselves. We all have our wives or girlfriend or significant other beating us over the head.
They hide that smile, don't they?
Well, they hide their smile real well, and we tend to have our significant others trying to push us. And we have a tendency as men to not be as smart as our wives and significant others who are a little smarter to come in and take care of things when it's a little bit more repairable and a much simpler stage. We tend to see the men when things have become more catastrophic.
Well, I've got so many questions, but I got one I have to ask because we just had a phone call right before the show, someone who's at work right now, Holly. She said, I don't think I can call because I guess she was afraid of getting caught, but she had a question. She had implants 8 years ago. She says now with her implants, when she bites on something, her top front teeth, she said it's like weak. Does that sound from? I mean, I don't know. That's the word she used. She said it felt weak.
Yeah, sometimes when you have a problem like that, when something doesn't feel right, there's a lot of possible explanations. It could be that something's loose. It could be something's loose, in which case it just needs to be tightened up. There could be an infection around the gum, in which case we have to address it. It could be an implant is on its early stages to failing, which is a problem, but that also can be managed if you catch it early enough. Or it could be something next to the implants. It's really hard to diagnose that over the phone.
But you can help them, though.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And what's more, that you really shouldn't sit on that, because the longer something like that develops,
something's telling you something.
right, the more complicated and the more expensive the repair is going to be. Just like in your car.
You know what's so
Fix it.
amazing? I guess you hear the two biggest questions that we're getting on this show is pain, number one, and you guys do a great job of explaining there isn't really any pain, and of course cost is one of them, and the other one is how long does the process take? Now in Texas they call it something different. They call it four something teeth.
All on four.
Yes, that's because that's they use in Texas. But how long is the process? Because listen, you guys are board certified, which is to me a big difference. So how long does it take to really do this the right way, from start to finish?
It could be a couple of hours.
To
Start
put
to
the
finish.
implants in?
Implants and teeth in. Yeah.
'Cause
Basically,
you
we
do
tell
the one
people.
day also.
We tell people from beginning to, you can walk in the morning with nothing, and you can walk out later that morning or the early afternoon with teeth. They may not be permanent teeth, but you'll have teeth. It may take probably 3 or 4 months to get permanent teeth completed, but once you have good temporaries that are attached to the implant, so they're not moving around, you're not getting sores from them, you can chew on them. In the beginning, you have to chew carefully. As time goes on, you can be a little more adventuresome and chew harder food. But you have teeth that day. So you walk out, and you can smile, and you can feel good about yourself. And there's going to be some healing. You got to go through the normal process. There's going to be some swelling. There isn't going to be much pain. But you go through that process. You go back to work. You go back to your life immediately. And we're going to check you for a while. It's going to take a while to get the permanent teeth made, but the pressure is off. You know, you've accomplished something. You can feel good about that, and you can feel like a human being all over again.
Why do some dentists you hear it takes 6 to 9 months, whereas maybe yours is 3 to 4?
Well, that's the difference between religion and science. And so religion tells us that we have to wait 6 to 9 months for the bone to fuse, essentially like shrink wrap, around the implant. But in fact, with the dental implant systems that we use in our practice, they're a more advanced implant surface. And that technology allows us to, and has, by the way, for the better part of 18 or so, 20 years, to have the implants healed really within 2 months. And then what Jeff is explaining is then the restorative process would take probably another 6 or 8 weeks after that. So start to finish, you should be finished with the entire process by the end of 4 months, maybe 5, depending upon scheduling or the complexity of the case, particularly when it comes to the restorative aspect, meaning making the teeth may take them a little bit longer sometimes if they have a little bit more, a few more steps in the process. But here we're talking about religion versus science, and we practice science.
Well, you know, we were talking, I've got 10 shows across the country, and I just thought about last time you were here, we had someone I stuck around, asked, they thought the show was still going on, and they wanted to know about their bone is not that good. Are they still a candidate?
Most people are worried about osteoporosis, because that's a big problem for aging adults and older patients, a lot of women, some men too. But the reality is osteoporosis usually doesn't affect the jaws until very late stages. So that's not an issue we worry about very much. And we find out about that too, because the scans that we take and the diagnostics that we do, we can see what the bone density looks like.
Well, so if someone is going to get implants, it has to do with the bone. I mean, that's where it's drilled into. Is that right? The bone?
Of course, right. Yes.
So everybody has different bone structure? I mean, does that make someone not a candidate? Or have you gone way past that now
It almost
with technology?
It almost never disqualifies someone. There are rare circumstances, but I can't think of more than 3 or 4
So
in my
do you
career.
build bone structure? Is that what you
We
do?
do. We do. When we need to, we will regrow or make new bone. And that's, I think, part of what separates a specialist from somebody who's taken a weekend course at a hotel to learn how to do this, is that we know how to grow bone predictably. We know how to treatment plan to find and maximize whatever bone a patient comes in with so that we can minimize whatever grafting has to be done and try to make this as streamlined as possible and also as uneventful and predictable for them.
Can a person, I'm kind of going to skip around, person's got gum disease. It's got to take care of that. Can they brush their teeth themselves, or should they come into your office and have a special cleaning for someone who's got gum disease?
Well, you got both is really the answer. You got to take care of yourself at home, and because the bacteria that cause gum disease or periodontal disease come back every 12 hours. And so unless you're going to come into our office twice a day, which is pretty impractical, you got to take care of yourself at home. On the other hand, there are certain places you can't reach.
Right, because you have to
And
go under the gum.
You got to go under the gum, and they're just not accessible. There's some curves and corners that you can't get into. Those are areas that a professional has to get into, and that's where we come in, or our hygienists come in, and we take care of people a lot, and we just help maintain their health or tune them up a little bit every once in a while, and they can usually go 3 to 6 months between tune-ups. But you have to do some work at home too.
So I'm not trying to embarrass anybody, but vanity is important. I saw what my sister went through. My sister in Dallas, and she would go to parties, and she told me, she said, I couldn't smile. And she said, I was only missing 2 teeth, but you could see them as soon as she smiled. And she said, I wasn't even myself. And because no one's going to come up to you and say anything, so you kind of black it out. She said, but when I finally made that decision, it was the best decision of my life, and I could finally smile and talk right. And I mean, and that's what you guys do every day.
People judge us by our smiles. They judge whether or not you're a friendly person or an unfriendly person by your smile. You're judged whether or not you're smart or unintelligent by your smile. So people judge us. And obviously, if your sister was always frowning or grimacing or had a guarded smile, then people automatically assumed she was perhaps an unfriendly or an uneducated
never thought
person.
of it that way.
That's probably not the case. And so we're judged by that, and our own self-confidence is driven by that. So when you can't smile or you're not confident to go out and eat a meal with your friends and your family, that has a real impact on how you feel about yourself and how other people feel about you. We judge one another almost instantly when we look at one another, particularly looking at our smiles. And so it's not something that takes a long time for us to conclude. We draw on that right away.
Well, let me give everybody your phone number. It's 561-912-9993. If you'd like to watch the show or go back and look at past shows, give everybody your website.
Our website is www.flsmile.com.
So we were in a conversation, we've just been joined by Fred's partner, Dr. Ganales, who I call the professor. For some reason, the way you explain things, I would want to be in your class. So we're going to go to break, and I've got tons of questions that I want to ask. Hey, if you'd like, I'm going to open up the phones today. I know that Ken's probably going to kill me today, but maybe we haven't done this yet. 888-565-1470. If you're thinking about getting implants, maybe you just have a problem with, maybe you had them done in New York and you need to see someone, Center for Periodontics, Implant Dentistry, and we will be right back.
Get your smile ready for summer. Are you missing teeth? Do you have loose teeth? Can you bite into an apple? Is your smile ready to hit the beach this summer with confidence? We all work out and try to look great since we live in paradise. You need a smile to match. The South Florida Center for Periodontics and Implant Dentistry can help you replace those failing or missing teeth with a beautiful smile and the confidence you deserve. The doctors at the South Florida Center for Periodontics and Implant Dentistry have helped thousands of patients rejuvenate their smiles for nearly 30 years by replacing failing and missing teeth with dental implants. Often new teeth are replaced the very same day using the technique they pioneered more than 15 years ago. Teeth today. At the South Florida Center for Periodontics and Implant Dentistry, all of their doctors are board-certified dental specialists. They have placed thousands of dental implants. And we all know that experience matters. Call the South Florida Center for Periodontics and Implant Dentistry today to schedule your free consultation. Call them at 561-912-9993. You'll be glad you did.
Hey, we are back for the second half of the Ask the Experts. We're here with the South Florida Center for Periodontics and Implant Dentistry. We're here with Dr. Fred Norkin and Dr. Jeffrey Ganales. And folks, I'm telling you something, there's probably a ton of dentists here in this area that do implants, but something this specialized, you want to make sure you're going to the best. This is not something you go to whoever's the cheapest. This is not the place to save money. Is there any insurance that covers implants?
Dental insurance often will cover implants. The problem is they usually don't cover the full cost.
I don't think any dental covers the full cost anymore.
No. But if you have dental insurance, we'll find out what your benefits are and apply that to whatever the fees are.
So we were talking before that you see these advertisements, implants $4.99, and I know about what implants run, and they're not $4.99. How do they get away with that? What are they doing?
Well, oftentimes they're using an inferior implant system. So
I would think so.
That's the start of it, is that there are many implant systems available on the market, just like there are many cars available. So you can go out and buy a used Pinto from the early 1970s, which may or may not run, or you can go out and buy a new Mercedes. And I know if I was going to put my family into a car, they're going to go into a new 2018 safe car with all the features that keep them safe and will run for a long period of time and be predictable. But certainly if you just want a car that's going to probably move, a Pinto might work. Well, the same with dental implants. So we make sure that the implants that we're using are tried and tested and have years of research to support what we're doing. We're not looking to experiment on our patients. We're not looking to save a couple of dollars here or there in order to use an inferior system and maybe put some more money in our pockets, because in the end, it really doesn't. In the end, it creates many more headaches. And our job is to do something that's predictable for our patients, frankly, predictable for our referring and restoring doctors, and also make our lives easy. And by using well-tested implants that have been on the market for a long period of time, we know that we're going to make everybody's lives more simple and much more predictable.
What do you do with someone who's not happy with their implants? To me, that means I'm not happy with the person who put the implants in. Can you see patients who've had implants done by someone else, and at 4, 5, 6 years down the road, they're having all kind of problems? See, I wouldn't want to go back to that same dentist.
Well, we do a lot of troubleshooting in general.
Troubleshooting.
But just to follow up on the $4.99 implants, there's a big misconception out there that every implant that's placed in a person is FDA approved. The Food and Drug Administration allows these to be sold, whether it costs $50 or $500. And you can be sure that if you're paying a low fee for your implant, then you're getting a cheap implant. What Fred was talking about is that the more expensive implants, which are the ones that we use, are the ones that we know are reliable. We know the companies are going to be around. We have all sorts of problems when patients come in to us to troubleshoot, and they have implant systems that are out of business. So we have to go try to find parts and screwdrivers and screws and pieces to fit together in order to help these people, because they're really dilemmas. And sometimes we have to take those implants out because there are no parts for them. We have patients that come in from Brazil, they get their work done in Costa Rica or Colombia, and they have the local implants, which are sold as just like, all the better brands. But the reality is there are differences. And
how could they last very long? Because you're talking about an inferior product.
Nobody knows if they do or they don't. And that's the problem, because we're replacing body parts. And we like to think that we're replacing body parts for life. And the likelihood that a cheap implant or one that hasn't been tested is going to last a lifetime, it's not going to do that. We have all sorts of examples of implants that break after 3 or 5 or 8 years. And when an implant breaks, we have to take it out and start over again. Implants get infected, fall out, we have to start over again. Those are more likely to happen with untested products than with tested products.
Give me a good story. You guys must get some real tear jerkers. I mean, because you change people's lives. Who's got the good story?
I mean, I know
We're
I
not
told
going to
this
use
story.
any names at all.
No.
Go ahead. We
All
both
right.
have.
I saw, last person I saw yesterday was a 92-year-old woman. That seems to be the age of the day.
Age du jour.
And she came in because she fell and hit her head and wound up going to the hospital and had some stitches. And she came in because she wanted to make sure she didn't do anything, because I started doing implants on her in the mid-90s. And she wanted to make sure that everything was okay. So she came in, and the last thing that I did on her was replace all her upper teeth in 2011. So at that time, she was
7 years ago.
85. And she said to me, "You know what?" She said, "That's the best thing I ever did. This is the best procedure I ever had done in my life. I've had no issues." And by the way, she didn't do any damage to any of her teeth in this fall, which was kind of miraculous because she broke her nose and everything else. And she was just beaming. She was so happy, and she still has all her marbles, all her faculties. And she said, "You know what? I never thought I'd live this long, but I've got great-grandchildren now, and I want to get to know them."
He did it.
And she was so thrilled that she didn't have to worry about smiling at her great-grandson who was just born.
Wow. Good story. Great. So we got a couple more minutes. I come in. What's the procedure? You do x-rays first, or what do you do first when a person comes in?
When you come in the first time, the first thing we want to know is what brought you in to see us? What's your driving focus? What's your driving factor? What do you hope to accomplish? And then from that, we're going to take a series of x-rays, whether it's regular dental x-rays, or sometimes we'll take a CT scan, which is not like a regular CT scan that you get in a hospital. This is much more focused on the jaws, much lower radiation dose, and it allows us to do it not only in the office, but immediately view it, because it's all digital, so we can take a look at this immediately, then conduct a full exam, regular dental exam, looking at pocket depth around teeth to see if there's any periodontal disease. We want to look for occlusal disease, any biting problems, any issues with orthodontics, any root canal problems. We're likely going to take some photographs, some pictures.
It's a lot for the first visit.
Sure. And then we're going to sit down and really just sit like we are right now and sit and talk and say, "Steve, here's what we see that's wrong, and here's a list of things that we can do to help you." And we're going to try to explain it in terms that you're going to understand and make sure that all of your questions are answered. We generally talk about 4 questions. All right, not like it's Passover.
I thought that was Passover.
It's not Passover yet. We've got a few more months to go, but we want to make sure that when you leave, you understand what you're going to look like, how you're going to feel, how much it's going to cost, and how long it's going to take. And if we can answer those 4 questions for you, then we're confident that you're going to be clear and understand everything in your treatment plan. What's great is that it's not just the 2 of us, or we really have 4 doctors in our group, but we have a full team of about 18 people that support us, including treatment coordinators, administrative people, surgical assistants, dental hygienists. And from soup to nuts, they are going to make sure, not just the 4 of us, but our support team is going to make sure that you're not only well cared for, but also make sure that you're well informed and your questions are answered, because undoubtedly you're going to go home and something's going to hit you and you're going to say, I forgot to ask that question. Pick up the phone and call us. You'll either get one of the doctors to call you back or certainly one of our treatment coordinators.
Well, we've only got a minute left. I mean, this is the easiest show to do. 30 minutes goes by so fast. Give everybody your website again.
Real simple. www.flsmile.com.
Write this number down. Maybe you have a friend that's thinking about having implants done. Write this number down, 561-912-9993. One more time, 561-912-9993. It's South Florida Center for Periodontics Implant Dentistry, and we'll see you guys next month.
Have a great
Thanks so
month.
much.
Thanks so much.
We'll see you next week.
Thank you, Steve.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Experts show. Tune in while some of the top local experts in their field from Broward and Palm Beach counties educate you in the areas of law, health, financial, and home improvement. You can also call our offices at 888-574-6999 to become an expert on our show. The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its hosts, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of the station, its staff, management, or sponsors.